Our next speaker is Thulile Khanyile. She's the co-founder and director of Nka Thuto, Edu Propeller. Over to you, ma'am, and welcome.
Hi, good day. Can you guys hear me properly?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So, as it's been said already, my name is Thulile. I am going to share my screen so we can see the presentation that I've got prepared. A little bit on a different foot from the previous speaker. Yeah, okay. So, like it's been said already, I'm from Nka Thuto Edu Propeller. We're a non-profit organization and we established in 2017. And we've got, we're also a PBO with SARS. And today I'm going to use Nka Thuto Edu Propeller to display a case study on developing a pipeline of innovators through STEM. The organization is founded by myself on the right, on your right, I guess, on all of our rights, and Thandeka Mhlanga. And I think together we're a pair of very passionate advocates for integrating science, innovation, and entrepreneurship, particularly for us in the basic education landscape. That's our market, and that's where we're focusing. We're trying to develop a mindset or a cohort of citizens of the country while still in high school that are able to identify problems, create solutions, and then be able to commercialize those solutions. And in this presentation today, I hope you get the sense and you get the illustration of how we do that at Nka Thuto Edu Propeller. Very briefly, myself and Thandeka are scientists. Thandeka holds a master's in physics cum laude from UKZN, and she's currently enrolled for her second master's in innovation at WITS, in innovation management at the University of the Witwatersrand at the business school. Myself, I am a master's graduate in molecular medicine, and I'm a PhD candidate and lecturer at the University of the Witwatersrand. And really, I'm otherwise trying to find a vaccine for HIV. And I think for the two of us, when we met and we were at the council at the CSIR, our issue as master students at the time was that we develop all this data, we develop all of these solutions, and they don't reach the market. And what we were interested in is addressing the translational gap between the sciences and the commercial space. So what do we do to migrate data and to migrate innovations and migrate solutions that are otherwise created in academia into the space that the CEO of Brand South Africa was talking about, where it begins to generate revenue and create jobs. And ours was to say that we believe it's a mindset that we perhaps don't have as South Africans, to be entrepreneurial about creating, and being deliberate about creating solutions to problems and commercializing. And in that, we have this very big, this very grand vision to be able to become the #1 STEMI ecosystem in Africa by 2030. And for us, STEMI is science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and innovation. And we're particularly looking at creating an ecosystem in the basic education landscape to sort of supplement the existing curriculum, but inject in it the capabilities of kids to be able to develop solutions that can sell. And really just very quickly at Nka Thuto, we use the science, the STEM principles to empower the basic education learners. And we specifically focus on your peripheral areas where geography is concerned. So we're not particularly looking at the CBD, but we're looking beyond the CBD and we'll go directly to the kids in the CBD. So we're looking at rural areas and township areas. And we're not saying that our kids from rural and township communities need to come into the city center to ensure that they get all of this information. We're saying we're going to them where they are comfortable, where they are one with the challenges that we are saying they need to solve themselves. And of course, we align ourselves with the country's policies, the NDPs, the white paper on STI, particularly if you've read the white paper on the STI. What's interesting to us is the element of being more inclusive, of ensuring that the NSI or the National System of Innovation is not only just encompassing of universities and the private sector, but also involves civic society, because civic society feeds private sector, it feeds government. Civic society is where it is, and that's where we need to build. And for us, that's very important in that white paper. But also, how we're able to meet our objectives as an organization is that we've got flagship programs that I'm going to speak about in a little bit. And really, the objectives of the organization for us is to create STEM awareness. I think it's without a doubt we can all see. Okay, Kumuto Talane wants to be admitted. Should I just admit them because I understand I'm host? So I'll just admit everyone that requests admitting. Sorry about that. So the first objective for us is to create STEM awareness. I mean, the direction that the world is going, that really where economies and the growth of economies is really dictated by the level of a country's ability to innovate and participate in the technology sector. And what we're saying is those technology skills, as a country, we're all aware we have a deficit of. So we need to drive a pipeline into STEM careers or into the mindset of technology and innovation. And that's really what we want to do. We want to be able to say, this is the number of kids, the kids that come out of the Nka Thuto program almost exclusively choose to go into data analytics, into Internet of Things, into machine-to-machine learning-based technologies, into big data, because those are the technologies that are driving the economy today. And we don't want a majority of our population to be left behind, which is why for us, STEM awareness, it becomes a very important objective. The second thing is that Tandeg and myself, as I stipulated, we are researchers. And really, if you're going to, I believe, if you're going to start a company, you need to start a company based on either the skills that you've got and are very aware of, or a problem that you are very close to, because then you're able to better understand the kind of solution you're going to craft for that problem. So for us, that's what we know. We know research methods. So we're teaching kids research methodology as a skill. The research methodology skills that I learned this level, we're teaching to grade 8s, grade 9s, and we're asking them to use it in meaningful ways that will create solutions in their communities. So, and then after that, what we do is we want to teach these kids commercialization, to expose them to business principles. And we do this by teaching them design thinking, as well as what is this process? So design thinking, as well as the business canvas model. And we allow them to really get in and really focus on problem solving and critical thinking based education, as it were, to teach them the principles that we're trying to teach them. Okay, there we go. So also the one of the things that we really pride ourselves in at Nka Thuto Edu Propeller as a very young organization as well is the system that we've created, the ecosystem that we've created to enable all of the work that we do to take place. And our Nka Thuto system of innovation obviously encompasses government in the DSI, as well as TIA. We worked at TIA before as well. And of course, the host communities where our schools are situated. We're very involved with universities because the mentors, the facilitators, and the people who really drive our program come from universities or come from industry, obviously, as well as the private sector. And the private sector really, our funders, Nozala Trust and De Beers at this stage. And then this is sort of an illustration of the system of innovation that we've created and the extent to which we've been able to garner these Black kids from Zastron in the Free State or from, the border of the Eastern Cape and from rural Bergville to bring them together into one roof at the University of the Witwatersrand. This is from last year, from 2019. And you see that these kids are really are here and they are developing and they're doing this research and they're creating these projects and they're executing them and they're delivering them to our judges, which are situated in the picture on the bottom right corner. You can see it's a lot of kids, it's a lot of projects. We pride ourselves in this. And then the question about expos and science expos is our kids come up with all of these amazing ideas and then what happens after that? Where's the value that is being generated from that idea? And for us, that's what we're wanting to focus on. Our flagship program, the 8-tier process, which is what enables us to generate these ideas that these kids come up with. So it will start by us creating a promotional blitz where we go and and really recruit kids, and we don't have a criteria for which kids we select into the program, except for the fact that we want them to be kids that are really interested in developing technology-based solutions. We hold workshops in the form of research methodology skills, and then they're able to use that as a tool to create projects, identify problems, understand those problems, and then create solutions. And because we understand the resource deficit of the areas that we work in, we understand that the child that is in this program does not have a parent that went to university. They don't have a neighbor that went to university. So to assist them with their projects, we have to bring those people in. So we bring in consultants and we have research days where we bring in mobile computers and dongles and internet so that our kids can really deep dive into conducting research and have people with PhDs and masters in their respective fields of STEM, assisting them to develop their technologies further. Then we have the School Innovation Expo, where these kids are able to now expose and share their ideas and their projects to different people. We have winners in respective schools, and those winners in the respective schools then go through to the final Innovation Expo, which also then goes through a mentorship process where we try to assist these kids now to increase the quality of their projects for the national festival, which is what I was showing in the previous slide. That was a final Innovation Expo where we had in excess of 200 kids participating, and that was the final. So you can imagine the number of kids that participated in our stage 4, which is the School Innovation Level Expo. We had close to 2,000 kids participating to narrow it down to a final expo where there's around 100, 120 projects. And then we select the winners. We've got 30 kids that win, that go through to what we call the Technopreneurship Bootcamp. And because we're at the stage now where we're trying to create entrepreneurs out of these kids, we gift them laptops, and then we give them computer training, and we give them introduction to CAD so that they're able to do some form of design for the prototype of the technology that they're developing. And for us, that's very important because we say we want people to become entrepreneurs, but we know that being an entrepreneur involves pitching with a slide deck, but we never teach people how to develop a slide deck. We never teach people how to use PowerPoints. Neither do we ever teach them to actually pitch and convince someone that this idea that I've got, you should buy. And that's where a lot of our entrepreneurs fall short, because they have not been taught the basic skills to negotiate my way through to a funder so that a funder can give me money, to produce a proper slide deck that's representative of my brand. And essentially at Nka Thuto to Propeller, we're doing that, and we're doing it at basic education level, and it's working out quite well. The last program that I'm going to talk about, well, the second to last program I'm going to talk about is, like I said earlier, so we've got innovation clubs, and these innovation clubs are situated in each school. Really what they aim to do is to drive innovation when we're not there. I think the one thing that we must understand is that at Nka Thuto Propeller, we don't teach people, we don't teach our kids content. We don't teach them, at least in the main program that I was talking about earlier, we don't teach them content. We rely on the content that our kids already have through what they learn at school, and we provide them with the tools and the platform to enable them to realize just how great they are and how awesome their ideas are. And then in the clubs, that's where we select 20 kids that are going to drive innovation in the schools. And these are the kids that really become the ambassadors of Nka Thuto Propeller. And we teach them introduction to coding. So first we taught them Scratch, which is a block-based programming system. Very simple. It's what you use to basically teach kids. But now what we've taught them, we actually just had our first hackathon a couple of weeks ago. Now we're teaching them Python, and our kids can code. They can build robots, and the robots can move, and they can turn on their own, and they can move autonomously, and our kids have learned how to do this. And for us, it's because when the kids are coming up with these technologies, we realize that they're coming up with these technologies that are already situated in Industry 4.0 technologies. So our kids are asking for coding. It's not a matter of the government thinks that the kids should be learning this and this. We have the data that will inform government and tell them that our kids need this and they need it now, not because it's good for the world, because our kids actually want it. They yearn for it. They know what it is. give it to the kids. And that's what we're doing. And it's proving to work out quite well. Even the products that our kids, or the ideas that our kids are coming up with, the quality of them is increasing. What we've also realized is that a lot of our kids, a simple example, a lot of our kids don't get bursaries, not because they aren't smart, but because they can't write creatively and they can't speak. So they don't know how to articulate a point. So what we do in the program is we do career pathing, an alumni program, and we do some creative writing, some creating and public speaking. And the career pathing program for us is critical because we assist our kids. Because the thing is, when you have a program like this, it's not about ticking boxes. We want to know that 5 years from today, our kids actually were at university. Our kids actually are being entrepreneurial. So we track our kids throughout their process, even post-matric, because we're interested in building that person so that South Africa benefits really from the individual that we develop. So we ensure that we assist our kids in applying for bursaries. For this year, for example, majority of our kids have already gotten entry into university. We pay for the application fees because we're invested in our kids. And we ensure that we prepare them for bursary applications and all of that. So for us, that's very important. We're interested in seeing our kids from the beginning all the way until the end, where they become prolific, contributing members of society. Okay, and then I can see that I've got like 3 minutes left. So also what we would do, we've got a different crop of kids that are very interested in agriculture, but for us, we're interested in technology. So we teach our kids hydroponics, and we have hydroponic systems situated in schools that assist these kids as well to learn firsthand what it's like to work with a technology system, to work in a multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary environment where you've got an agricultural person that understands the soil, that understands plants, but at the same time, you want your hydroponic system to run autonomously, to let you know when it's run out of water, to let you know when it's run out of nutrients. So a system, a smart hydroponic system that we're teaching our kids and are wanting funding to roll out into our respective schools so that our kids can begin to trade within their communities and also begin to feed the community schemes in the schools. And since 2017, we have a national footprint. The only provinces we are not in is the Western Cape and the Northern Cape, and we're still trying to figure out the best way to go into those very remote areas from us as people that have their main office or their headquarters in Johannesburg. We've got 2 offices, one in Johannesburg and one in Durban. We've got 31 partner schools. In our system of innovation, we've got 420 predominantly Black STEM professionals. So when they tell you that there are no STEM professionals, you must come to us. We've got the database, 48 professionals that we've trained to be able to facilitate these workshops. And we do all of this internally. We've got 18 clubs. And we have an internship program where we run the program, and we've reached 30,000 learners through our awareness campaigns, and close to 4,000 learners have participated in actually developing projects. And to date, we've got 35 technology-based business cases that are already in business format, not wishy-washy things. And our target for I think this is 2024, is that we want to reach a national a footprint of minimum of 50 schools, where we've got an average of 9 per province. And of course, we also have dreams to go beyond the country. As you can imagine, a program like this needs face-to-face. So for the first time, what we did because of COVID, or we were challenged to do because of COVID, was pivot into running our program digitally. So we had our very first virtual Final Innovation Expo and Technopreneurship Bootcamp, and it went well. The only challenges that we had, because this was from a cohort of kids from Paris, is that the infrastructure that's there kicks our kids out of Zoom all the time. So our kids coming back, and the drive that these kids have to learn and contribute to society, we see it on a daily basis when things like this happen, and they're able to go beyond the challenges that they face. And of course, I mean, data prices in South Africa are high. Data has to fall for us to be able to scale our program. I believe I'm out of time, but on the right here, you see an example of a hydroponic system that is just starting out, that we've just built, that we're trying to teach our kids. Some of our kids, 2 of them actually, one in grade 11 and one in grade 10, go off to the United States next year for a month. because they were able to participate in a program very similar to this, which is global, and they were able to get funding and scholarships to be able to do that. One is from Vosloorus and the other is from Seshego in Polokwane, and we're exceedingly proud of them because this starts to say that we are producing globally minded and globally competitive kids through this program. I'm not going to go through everything else, but really the model for Nka Thuto Propeller is that within the nonprofit organization, you're going through discovery, you're scoping, and then you're building a business case. So now what we need to do is go into PTY, LTD, and commercialize and distribute. So now we're going into developing, testing, and validating, and then officially launching some of our minimum viable products. And we've registered now in 2019, last year, this Nka Thuto Techno Propeller, which is the commercial and distribution entity that we are working on now and working on getting funding now. The strategy for this is done. We must fill in the people, and we need to now officially start building products and selling them in the markets. We don't, Tande and myself, don't do this work alone. As 33-year-olds and 31-year-olds, we run an organization that has staff. We have staffing, we're creating employment, we've got proper governance structures, because while we're building entrepreneurs in the country, we need to let them know that what is really critical is that our governance is proper and our businesses are impenetrable when it comes to any loophole that can prevent anybody from funding or moving us forward, because the reality of the matter is that that's where we fall short as Black companies, is that we don't follow proper procedure. So we need to follow procedure, ensure that our governance is in place, and we are hiring people, creating employment. I think I'm going to end there. These are the partners that we've got: Zala Trust, Science and Innovation, the Bonahalo BS Trust, the NSTF. And to end off, I'm just going to say this is a quotation from McLean Sibanda, who's the CEO of BiGen, and he says Nka Thuto is an incredible platform that educates, empowers, and inspires youth in the opportunities presented by science, technology, engineering, and mathematics careers. Through this platform, youth practically engage with and come up with STEM-based solutions to address many challenges, but also it's well-positioned to contributors in the fourth industrial revolution. In the short time since establishment, Nka Thuto has already had huge impact on lives of many youth, influence their career choices, and he says he applauds the visionary work of myself and Thandeka. I am going to end there, and I'm going to end by saying that the impact of the work that we've done is captured recently. We've captured it recently in a magazine, and I'm going to put the link into the chat for that magazine, so you can download and see where our kids are at university and what our kids are getting up to. And I believe you'll be very inspired by their individual stories as we are. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Thulile. We'll look over at the chats and see if there's any questions for you. Okay, can you please look at a chat from Kavish and Roberto?
Are these, so Kavish, I'm seeing Kavish, oh, thank you so much. I'm seeing that you guys think it's an interesting presentation and you take my enthusiasm. Yes. And thank you very much for that. And yeah, indeed, we need more entrepreneurs and we need to build more entrepreneurs into the space. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And could you please send us your